For the first time since June 13th of 2018, your favorite podcast host is gainfully employed. And of course, the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are that of me and not of my employer or any of my employers. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on East Coast Radio.
Me. Nobody likes me, but that's okay, cause I don't like y'all anyway. And I don't like y'all anyway.
We have until November of 2020 to get our act together as a country, as a nation, to correct this injustice. And the biggest injustice in the world was allowing a foreign power to install a criminal into the White House and turn an administration into a fascist crime syndicate. That must be corrected. And we only have there's only one more election we have to correct it, or this whole thing is over.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
I never met any of the founding fathers, but I'm sure if they were listening to East Coast Radio right now and brand new episodes of Dyze in your house, they would agree with the sentiment. And you can follow us on Twitter at East Coast Radio. Get us on Patreon at East Coast Radio. Vote. Blue Wave 2020. Let's make it happen. East Coast Radio for the least heard voices. Every weekend. We here on East Coast Radio are trying to fight the rising tide of fascism.
The noun fascism is usually defined as a governmental system led by a dictator having complete power, forcibly suppressing opposition and criticism, regimenting all industry, commerce, etc., and emphasizing an aggressive nationalism and often racism.
Yeah, we don't want any of that in America. So we gotta stop it. We gotta put out the fire now. Staten Island was no joke. As liberals, not even as liberals, as Americans, as patriots, as people that like democracy, the only thing we can do right now to fix our country is use our weapons. And our weapons are our voices, our handmade signs, and social media. Get the message out there. Voting. Voting is key. Elections have consequences.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
Representing Staten Island.
Staten Island wasn't no joke.
Hey yo, who's in the house? Dyze in your house. What is the word, peeps? It is the weekend. I'm Jay Parks, and we are back here on East Coast Radio with another action-packed edition of Dyze in your house. Dyze in your house is the vehicle we use to fight fascism here on East Coast Radio. What is fascism?
The noun fascism is a governmental system led by a dictator having complete power, forcibly suppressing opposition and criticism, regimenting all industry, commerce, etc., and emphasizing an aggressive nationalism and often racism.
Yeah, there's none of that we want in America. We did not sign up for this. And I will say what I was saying on Thursday at the Release the Report protest in Times Square. The last time fascism rose, a lot of people who share a last name with me were murdered. So, it's not a joke. It's not a game. It's not, oh, he's a silly liberal. Oh, he's a snowflake. Nah, it's that my family was killed, and I kinda don't want more people to die. That's how I roll. Excuse me for rolling in that way. I mean, I don't know, I'm wild like that. Where I don't want people to be killed and persecuted for the way they look, the way they practice religion, stuff like that. Like, it's weird. Their gender, their race, their creed, their sexual preference. Like, it's weird that I don't want people to be persecuted and hurt / killed for those things. Yet that makes me some sort of whiny snowflake. I don't get it. I never got it. But you know what? I've also been a guy unemployed since June 13th of 2018. But as you heard at the top, that's over. I got a job, and let me tell you where it is. It's at... Yeah, right. Sure, I'm gonna do that. I got the first good job I ever got, and I got one rule, is that the views and opinions of me are mine. So, we ain't even gonna mention where I work. I might drop hints. You might figure it out by you might figure it out shortly in the future based on new clothes I'm wearing that I update pictures of myself on the internet. But I am not, anything that is said on this podcast has nothing to do with the people that employ me. But let's just say the people that employ me do not donate to the Trump campaign. So that's good. That's good. Alright, so I had a long week. I was in the city every day training. And on Thursday I realized what the good thing about, like, if I was in Manhattan as opposed, because I live in Staten Island, as you know, on Staten Island, in Staten Island. I live in Staten Island, the rugged lands of Shaolin, home of Wu-Tang and Pete Davidson. And people that aren't from here, they don't. New York City, they think New York City. But if there's like a protest at Times Square, to leave my house to get there by bus would be, over an hour to do. It's not like I can, I'm bouncing, I'm out. But this week, from 9 to 6, I was training in the city at my new job. So, at the headquarters for my new job. So on Thursday, I got text alerts from Move On, or I'm not sure if it was Move On or it was Resist Bot. Take action to the streets. So I said, no way. I said, there's protests? I'm going. So I'm walking to the bus stop, because I have to walk to 42nd Street, which is, I pass Times Square anyway. And I hear the songs. The jingles. And I see the big signs. Trump Pence must go. Resistfascism.org. You should go there. Resistfascism.org. So I saw that, and I was like, I'm getting in here. So I found a little space in the gate, and I went in there, and I took a bunch of pictures. Took pictures of signs and stuff. And it was just cool, like, those are the people I want to be with. I want to be with rapid response protesters at all times. Peaceful protesters who use their words and their handmade signs and not, there was no, violence. There was nobody, no intimidation of anybody. There was some lady handing out, flyers. The Democrats have no plan. I was like, nah, I'm good on that, though. I'm totally good on that. No thanks. You keep your propaganda. It's crazy. So I was happy that I was able to participate in democracy. Democracy happening is cool. And I got on the bus after that. Served my purpose. I did my part. So basically, everybody listening to this podcast, obviously, you know how I feel about things like protests. I like them. They're cool, as long as no one gets hurt and stuff. So, we need to do more of that. And I know we have been doing a lot of it. I know Democrats, liberals have been doing a lot of taking it to the streets. We need to do more. We always need to do more. It's never enough until we remove all the corruption from our government, from the cabinet, from the White House. We need to remove all the corruption, all the criminals. That's what they are. Listen, you could say what it is. You can try to break it down as, oh, well, a lot of these people have never governed before, and they don't really know what and they're just doing this. No. These people are dangerous. These people are fascists, and these people are destroying our country. And these people are not un-American. And these people need to be stopped. This is not just, this isn't like Gerald Ford. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, this guy's an idiot who falls down sometimes. This is a dangerous, dangerous thing. And it's not enough that we think, oh, well, Democrats got some candidates. We got some people who are going to vote. I mean, we don't really need to take it to the streets much because there's no way this clown wins again. Well, we thought that last time. And that didn't really work out so well for America. So what we need to do is we need to make sure, listen, man, it's all about voting. We gotta vote. We have to vote. We have to use your platform. You got social media, you gotta use it, man. We gotta get after it, because we've only got months now. What is it, April? So we've got, what, 20 months or something to fix this? And it's bad, man. And again, eventually, I swear, eventually I'm going to do a 2020 Democrats podcast. One episode breaking down my power rankings of the 2020 Dems. But every time I go to do that, something happens. Whether it's Joe Biden, which, by the way, I'm not addressing the Joe Biden thing this week. I haven't unpacked it enough to say the things that I feel are right. So I don't want to say, I don't want to fall on the wrong line there. So I'm just going to pause on Joe Biden and what he did for, what he did, his reaction, his explanation, all that stuff. We'll take a pause on that. But what I really want to focus on is something that a lot of people think are stupid, something a lot of people... I mean, listen. We need the tax returns. That's the end of the story. We need the tax returns. And the House Ways and Means Committee has requested the tax returns. The last 6 years of Trump's tax returns. Now, there's a lot of things not going on there. One thing that's not going on is audit. The reason why, because there is nobody. So like 2015, we got no tax return, under audit. 2016, no tax return, under audit. 17, 18. So wait a second. There is nobody under perpetual audit. That's not a thing, okay? Also, if you're under audit, you're still allowed to show your taxes. There's nothing stopping you from showing your tax returns. Also, on the other side of that, we're not going to get the tax returns, and there's going to be oh yeah, that's it. There it is. That's what it was. It's not going to be like payment from Putin. Like, it's not going to say that in the tax return. There's going to be overlapping LLCs, and it's going to be very confusing. But luckily for us, in America, we've got people like accountants and, and money people and economics people, and they can break it down. And if you give the tax return to somebody like David K. Johnson, somebody like that who's like a tax expert, David K. Johnson from DC Report, and they can. It's not even really a roadmap, but it's not a roadmap. It's a little like points you in the direction of where you need to go. Because listen, the Democrats, let's call it like it is. We got news pundits who, for months, for years, say the Democrats are reaching. They should, first it was they shouldn't impeach. They should wait for the Mueller report. Now they're reaching Democratic investigations. We're not investigating because his name is Trump. We're investigating because he's a criminal. And criminals who use mob mentalities and mob tactics usually have lots of layers between them. Layers like Mike Flynn and George Papadopoulos and Paul Manafort and Michael Cohen and Roger Stone and Julian Assange and all of this. By the way, we keep hearing word that Julian Assange... Well, actually, no. WikiLeaks said that Julian Assange might be leaving Ecuador in the next couple of days. We'll keep an eye on that, but again, it's WikiLeaks, so I'll take it with a grain of your latest broken government that they helped destroy. So we need the tax returns. We need the tax returns because you know what? Like, it's like when I was a kid and I wanted to get like Jordans and my dad would never get them for me. That didn't make me not want them more. That made me want more of them. That made me want them even more than I did at that point. It's like when you tell a kid they can't have a snack, they're getting that snack. They want that snack. You told the American people we couldn't have the tax returns, that we didn't care about it. Au contraire, mon frere. We want it, we need it, and we're gonna get it. But on the other side of that, like, all the Democrats have released their tax returns. Isn't it weird that all the Democrats have released... Well, not all the Democrats. But, like, you're supposed to release your tax returns. Nixon released his tax returns. Nixon was a criminal! Tax returns are key to just be human. That's what presidents do. They share their tax returns. They do American things, like everyday Americans. But I'm not gonna... Tax returns is not a partisan thing, by the way. Bernie Sanders needs to release his tax returns, too. Why isn't Bernie Sanders releasing his tax returns? Why is nobody talking about that? Because that's a partisan thing. That they're on the news talking about one guy's tax returns, not the other guy's. Bernie Sanders has tax returns that he's not releasing. He didn't release them in 2016. He's not releasing them now. Why? We need to know. Is it because they paid for his third house? Cost $340,000 or something? And they paid cash for it? I don't know. Is it because his wife Jane is under FBI investigation? I don't know. But these are all things that aren't helping Democrats in general. So what you gotta do is chickity check yourself before you really wreck yourself. And that takes looking at the field of Democrats and not having the Bernie fever. I'm voting for the person at the top of the Democratic ticket. That being said, it can't be Bernie Sanders. He's not a Democrat. He's only a Democrat when it comes time to run for president. And I'm not about Democrat on Democrat crime. That's why I'm dissing the independent. Everybody's got their tax returns out. Elizabeth Warren not only is going to put out a tax returns, she's talking policy every single week. She's got a new policy that she's rolling out. And she's so and everything makes so much sense. The plans she has, wealth tax, this and that. All the plans Elizabeth Warren has are well thought out, concise, and are good for America. Which is why she's not going to win. Because America's not smart. America doesn't want policy. America wants some stupid catchphrase. America wants dog whistles and populism. Apparently. That's what it seems like we want. Until we stop it. All we have to do is stop it once. We get rid of this. We get rid of this rising fascist machine. And America will be... It's not like, oh, we got to worry about this happening again in 4 years. We're not. Because majority of Americans, millennials, guess what? Guess what all those young people are? Guess what young people are? Studies show America moving to the left, to the left. To the left, to the left. All liberals moving to the left. That's right. Young people, you know those people that watch their friends get shot in school and shit like that? Yeah, they're a little liberal now because, you know, they look at politicians taking money from the NRA, and then they watch the NRA controlling the way gun laws work in America, and then they see foreign governments funneling money through the NRA to go to the fascist candidate who somehow hijacked the Republican fucking party, and they're like, yo, maybe Cory Booker ain't so bad right now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, even the most ineffective Democrat, not ineffective. Let me not call Cory Booker ineffective. He's got Wall Street in his pocket. He could be very effective. But in terms of the most vanilla, isn't it weird that Cory Booker's a vanilla Democrat? He's really like, you know, he's all about love and all this crap, and it's like, yeah, I like the guy, and Rosario Dawson would be awesome for that'd be a cool first lady to have. But I mean, I got people in front of Booker I like. But at the same time, young folks are moving further to the left. And not further to the radical extreme left that people think exists. Because there are two kinds of people. The people that understand that America's moving to the left, and people that pretend that most Democrats are moderates. The phrase most Democrats are moderates is not true. What is true is that most Americans are Democrats, but they might not declare that. But most Americans aren't at Trump rallies. Most Americans aren't at Charlottesville. That's not where most Americans are. Most of Americans think people should be able to marry who they want. Most Americans don't have a problem with immigrants because they're family, they're children of immigrants. Most Americans don't want endless school shootings. And 70% of Americans think marijuana should be legal for recreational purposes. These are all liberal things. These are all progressive things. Most Americans think that all Americans should have access to health care. Affordable health care. Whether that's fixing the Affordable Care Act, whether that's Medicare for all, whether that's universal, whether that's a single payer, whatever it is. Americans need health care. These are all things that all Americans are into. So there is no, oh, well, you know, that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez represents the left. No, she doesn't. She represents her district. And you know what? She represents a lot of us young folk. But she's not as radical as the Fox News machine may want you to, may try to get you to believe. Americans are mostly normal. And I understand that hyperparticism, is that a word? I know that the exacerbations of, I know that people being more partisan than they used to be has made our political system seem a little crazy. But there are a lot of people that aren't on Twitter who vote. There are a lot of people that aren't on cable news that vote. There are a lot of people that aren't out in the streets protesting that vote. So, most of those people, a lot of those people, they're not, I mean, I just have to hope. You know, you just have to hope. People are better, man. People are better than that. And when it comes down to it, I think there's a lot of... All the Democratic candidates besides like probably 2 or 3 of them can win. Have a clear path to 270. And all we got to do is support these people. And all we got to do is stay away from the dem-on-dem crime. Spend the next 20 months or so getting together. Making our voices heard. Taking it to the streets. And that's how we do it. Take it to the streets. And vote. Alright. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on Least Coast Radio.